Let's bring in Jeff Mason, White House correspondent for Bloomberg. Hey to you, my friend. You were there. Tell me what you saw and heard.
Hey, Alex. What I can tell you are things that I'm sure you've heard already. I was at a table, I would say midway through the ballroom, kind of between the stage and the back. And I heard the gunshots as others did at my table, and got down on the ground and kneeled underneath the table. We were in that position for quite a while without really knowing what was going on, because, of course, the Secret Service and law enforcement was focused on getting the principals out, the president, the vice president, and cabinet officials. I think a lot of us were waiting for instruction or some kind of indication of what we should do, because we just didn't know at that point, obviously, A, what was going on, and B, whether there was still an active threat in the room where we were. So it was obviously very unsettling and sad to see.
You know, Kerry Kennedy was on in the last hour, and she said that after a little bit of time, somebody came in a position of authority and said, go, 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 as if, get out of the ballroom. Did you hear that as well? Did you see a mass exodus following those orders?
I did not, and those are not orders that I heard from where we were seated. So it's been interesting to compare notes with people. I think depending on where you were in the ballroom, that impacted whether or not you were told or whether you didn't hear anything at all. And I was just in the spot where we weren't hearing anything. It's a big ballroom,
It's very big, yeah.
The biggest one in Washington, D.C. That's why the White House Correspondents Association holds the dinner there. It's also the location where the National Prayer Breakfast is held and other major events that are looking for big venues for these types of events. It also, I would add, is at the hotel where, of course, we know President Reagan was shot many years ago. And as a result of that, there's a special entrance now for the president to get into the hotel. And that's another reason why this event and others are held there, is because there are additional measures built in now to that hotel for the arrival and departure of the President of the United States.
Yeah, that was like 45 years ago, the Ronald Reagan attempted assassination. So, look, my friend, you've attended a lot of events while covering the president. When you arrived at the event last night, did it seem like security was just about the same as it always is at that big event? Did you notice any gaps?
I wouldn't say I noticed anything much different from how it is normally. I know anecdotally that there were some people who did not have their tickets on them, and you're required to have your ticket to get very far. Now, that doesn't mean they got into the ballroom without a ticket. I think that would be pretty close to impossible. But getting down onto the ballroom level, where this shooter must have made it without a ticket, was possible for some others who I spoke to. But other than that, no, I certainly now we're seeing and hearing additional questions and concerns about the broad security at the Hilton. It's also something that has struck me today upon reflection, that when I travel with the president and when I'm with the press pool and we stay at the same hotel where the president is staying, the magnetometers are almost always at the front door of the hotel itself. So when you walk into the building, you can't walk in without going through security. That was not the case here, and hasn't been the case here at all of the dinners that I've attended. The magnetometers were on the ballroom level, which means that the whole building was not secure. They just secured that level. And I suspect that's something that will be looked at closely going forward if events like this go back to that hotel. And I don't want to paint that as a broad brush that it's like that at every single hotel where we stayed. We've certainly been at bigger places where they just corner off a certain area. But it was just striking to me to think about that comparison after last.